All right, everyone. A lot of the Trump sold out on the wall shills have gone completely silent in the last 24 hours. Oh, I wonder why that could be. Oh, Trump came out and said, hey, if Congress tries to circumvent my national emergency declaration to allocate wall funding, I'll veto it. So essentially what he's doing is throwing down the gauntlet and challenging all the never-Trumpers to actually attempt to stop this. Look, it is going to be such a fucking bloodbath for Republicans in Congress if they try to stop him from building his wall. Because a lot of these people come from districts where the wall is popular. You got to realize this isn't an entirely partisan issue, but there are definitely places in the country where it is considerably more popular than not. And then there are places in the country where it's an unpopularity. If you go to San Francisco and you poll people, should we build a wall on the southern border? It'll probably be like, 70% of them will say no. Now let's say you go to small town America, pretty much anywhere, but especially along the border, yeah, you're going to get overwhelming support for it. A lot of Republicans come from small town and rural America. Yes, I am sure that some rural congressman from a district in Texas that doesn't have a city of more than 15,000 people is going to try to stand in Trump's way. I'm not sure that there are enough Republicans in the House and Senate to override such a veto. And what if they fail? What if they fail in a legislative sense? He'll force negotiations. Here's what I think he's trying to do. The National Emergency Declaration it has an injunction by the Ninth Circuit, of course, issued against it. He has to take it before SCOTUS. That could take years. He's already requested that they take it up. They probably will. I think they'll hand Trump a victory, but he'll need a second term for that to kick in. But there's another possibility. Force the legislator to try to circumvent it. Hope that they fail. Once they fail, say, look, come and fucking negotiate. I don't want to have to be doing this, but we got to secure the border. Give me the wall, and we'll see what I can do for you. Because I'm a reasonable person. I'm the negotiator-in-chief, which is exactly what Trump gave them with his prior deal. He did secure 1/4 of the wall funding that he wanted. It's only for a very short piece of border in one particular critical, but one particular location. It falls far short of what he ultimately needed, and then it gives him a few thousand extra border patrol agents in the the legal crossing areas, like border agents to staff those. I mean, it's an improvement over what we have. It does give him some wall. There was a video of it, and the left tried to claim that that was just a revamping of an existing wall. It's like, yes, they're replacing a fence with a fucking wall. That's the whole point of this entire thing. Most of the barrier that Trump wants is to replace subpar existing barriers, either steel or regular fencing and embankment, something like that, with something that is considerably larger and more formidable. That's essentially what is being done. It's adding some new border, although he can't do that yet because of the bill he signed. The thing is, though, that bill didn't prevent him from passing the emergency declaration. He's saying, I want billions more to complete the rest of this project. The Supreme Court, I believe, will side with him, because they will say it is absolutely within the purview of the executive branch to understand that when millions of people are pouring into your country illegally, that rises to the level of a national emergency. If it were happening to a nation with less population, it already would have resulted in the militarization of the entire border. Trump's not even talking about that. Trump is saying that at certain critical junctures, the National Guard's going to have to step in because there are caravans of tens of thousands of people entering. They are entering alongside, there are people that are entering as economic migrants. All they want is a job, which, by the way, still is not proper. They're not an asylum seeker. People tend to have more mercy towards them, but what about the cartel member that filtered in? What about the human trafficker? What about the drug mule? You know, some 10-year-old kid is bloated with cocaine going across the border illegally. Well, you're incentivizing that to happen. You're incentivizing the worst acts of depravity possible when you leave the border porous, because people in those vulnerable situations, more than half of the women are getting sexually assaulted and a large proportion raped on the way here. A lot of them are getting enslaved. A lot of them are getting addicted. They're getting used by cartels. This is not acceptable. The nation of Mexico, with a socialist, populist, vaguely, leader, is doing more to stop this right now than our own Congress is, including some Republicans. Shame on them. Absolute travesty. So Trump, I support strongly in declaring a national emergency. The bill that he signed is they're like, whoa, it's amnesty. No, it's not. How the fuck is it amnesty? Okay, so you're saying that you're going to detain fewer people at these holding facilities. Then fucking build the wall, no problem. You won't have anyone to detain. Why would you need so many beds in these facilities? Oh my God, it frees up money for refugees. Look, that's fine. Yeah, give them money so that they're not at the border while it's still porous so that you can build your wall. Then they gave money to Israel, but that gets worked into basically every defense bill. So that's a normal part of the budget, one that I happen to oppose at this point. It's like, it's laughable. It's ridiculous. We got huge amounts of debt, can't secure our border, can't pay our pensions, we can't pay for infrastructure, we can't pay for our military, we can't pay veterans, we can't pay for anything here, and we give tens of billions of dollars a year to this one other state, let alone all the other countries we give foreign aid to. There should be a constitutional amendment against a penny being given to any foreign nation until at least our own budget is balanced in some proper order. Slash the size of government and pay other nations if you want to. Get rid of the EPA. They don't do anything anyway at this point. Yeah, you might as well get rid of DHS because Congress won't let them do their fucking job. They won't hire enough agents. They won't build a barrier. They won't let them respect. It's like catch and release on steroids because of a bunch of idiot Democrats in the House of Representatives. A bunch of fools. The Democratic Party at this point is fundamentally taken up the position that it is wrong, it is bad for us to actually even have a border. If there's no coherent border defense, it doesn't matter about the rest of the barriers you built. Trump is trying to plug the gaps in the border. I support it. I think it's a good idea. People have made little mini docs and stuff like that, like journalists. They go to parts of the border. It's like, yeah, here's the border. What is it? It's like a 5-foot, like, little riveted steel thing with some barbed wire on it. Otherwise, there's nothing there. You could step over it. You don't need to scale a fence. You don't need to jog through the desert at night with camouflage on. You don't need to fight off coyotes. No, you just walk across it. It's basically just a vehicle barrier. There's no pedestrian barrier at most of the critical parts of the border. These are crossable areas, and the only thing that's there is one layer of barbed wire that you can snip through in 10 seconds, and maybe a camera on a saguaro cactus once in a while. That's all that's there. Yeah, I think that we should probably improve that. I think it would probably help Border Patrol a little bit. You know? The Democrats have lost their fucking minds. So he's not selling out. He's standing his ground. He's like, no, I'm going to veto any legislative attempt. He's daring them. By the way, if they actually do attempt to circumvent it, and they say, well, he's not allowed to have a national emergency, all the Democrats will vote for it. They're going to look bad. That'll hurt them in the elections. I don't think that they realize how unpopular their stance really is. They're like, no, all of the Democrats before said we needed a wall, but then they stopped. They shut up about it the second that they're elected. Clinton did this, Obama did this, Carter did this. It's been going on since the 70s. Well, there's a problem. People are coming across the border. We need to do something about it. They get elected. They don't do anything about it. The only one that did was Ronald Reagan, and it was a half-assed attempt that was, again, led by the legislature, co-sponsored by Democrats, was supposed to result in a proper physical barrier, but that part fell through. It never actually got made. Bush was all about, border defense, we've got to stop them terrorists from coming across. Osama bin Laden's going to wander out of the desert and attack us or something. And he builds a little bit of fucking fence and embankment. That's basically all he did. I think, how much barrier did he complete? Like 50 miles or something? Trump's already, I think, exceeded that now. He did that, remember. They gave him the first disbursement to plug a few gaps in the San Diego area. By the way, nobody apparently there has a problem with it. Acosta and these others had to squash out their own reporting from on the ground. Now there will be some built in Texas, and he's trying to gain that, $7 or $8 billion for everything else that he needs to do or feels he needs to do along the border. The Democrats now are leading the charge to stop the border from being secured. Do you realize how surreal this is? Oh, it's a waste of money. No, it's not. You never said that before. You don't have any problem giving that amount of money to a foreign state while we don't even have it without printing money. You don't have a problem with that. That's perfectly fine. I think that that's just shy of treason, actually, myself. That's about all. Peace out.